Well, we're back, and we're a little late.
But that's fine. Because we say it's fine.
It is fine, because we were on vacation together. Mm-hmm. In a purely platonic way.
Maybe just for you. I don't know.
That's true. You and Chris were getting nasty over some board games. But anyway...
Hey, Chris.
Hey, Chris. What did we watch before we went on vacation? Now we have to try and remember so we can recap for our podcast.
Yeah, it was Rim of the World.
Rim of the World. Sort of like if you wanted to do nostalgia porn, like Stranger Things, but you fucked up and you set it in the present and made it about aliens instead of like the Upside Down.
And did it very poorly.
And did it really poorly. This is Bad Watch.
Welcome! Yay!
So, I intentionally did not review the plot of this film, and I watched it maybe 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
But I did take notes when I watched it.
That's solid.
And my first is ISS.
Hold on. I just want to give... I'm looking at these notes, I'm like, I don't know what that one is. I don't know what that one is. I don't remember that.
Okay.
All right, this is going to be great discussion.
So my first note... Okay, you know what? Let's set the scene.
Yeah.
This is a film that was only released on Netflix and has...
It should have been released nowhere.
It has a decent budget, but you can also tell, like, the special effects are pretty bad. Like, either they ran out of time or money when they were doing some of those. Yeah. But the director of this film is...
this is my favorite part.
He's a mononym, like Bono, Madonna, Cher, and then, of course, Mick G.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The director of this film.
Oh, so well known.
Charlie's Angels, and I guess, like, music videos? I
think he did something else as well for Netflix.
He's on a direct-to-video career path now, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's not super impressive, but Mick G. It's a name that will go down in infamy.
Mick G. Yeah, and it rhymes, so that helps. But so this film starts, there's a woman aboard the ISS, or International Space Station, and the International Space Station... I don't know, if you're a Vor fanatic, it looks like it's getting swallowed by an enormous alien ship.
It is get hungry, man.
Made of, like, dark matter Legos or something.
Well, it's dark matter or something because it eats radar and we can't see it.
Yes, exactly. And
the ground side apparently doesn't believe her because she's like, Lopez or whatever his name, Cortez, someone's dead because they were doing a spacewalk and now they've been eaten. And, like, apparently the ISS has, like, capsules, emergency capsules. I didn't know that.
Yeah, apparently they have these cool little escape pods.
He's like, get to the capsule.
Yeah. She barely makes it in time.
But they're like, take the key, you grab the data or something, and bring it to JPL. And this is, like, the heart of the movie.
And then, get the key. This is the MacGuffin.
Yeah.
McGee's MacGuffin driving the entire film. The key that needs to get to the Jet Propulsion Laboratory at UCLA? Is that, or USC? Somewhere in or near Los Angeles.
Yeah.
The Jet Propulsion Laboratory. If you're in the physics world, you're screaming at us because, again, you're our nemesis, and we're okay with that.
You're also McGee's.
Also McGee doesn't give a flying fuck about you guys, so you'll have to deal with him first, I think. But then we cut to like a day or two previous to that, and there's a redheaded boy wearing glasses, sitting in front of like 9 or 10 or 12.
We just looked. It's like 20, and it's insane. And I was like, who would let their child do that?
He is an only child.
Very clearly.
His mother clearly spoils him, and his father is dead for reasons we'll learn later, I guess. But
that's why she spoils him.
Yeah, but he has so many TVs on one wall of his room, and he's sort of like,
and they're all doing different things, which no one can actually consume. So
yes, they're all showing different things, but they are all showing. A lot of them are showing at least like information from NASA and various spacecraft and satellites. And he is dressed like a little college professor in an elbow patch tweed thing.
In an ergonomic chair.
In an ergonomic chair. He is trying to be the man in the chair, as it is called in Spider-Man Homecoming, except there's no Spider-Man or any superhero of any kind.
He's missing a cat, though.
He's missing a cat?
Yeah, he needs a cat to be petting it, to be
like
the man.
What's his name? Dr. Claw? I'm the man in the chair and the man with the cat. But yeah, so he's a dork, but his mom's like, you're gonna meet so many cool friends at summer camp. And he's like, well, I'd be able to track the International Space Station. She's like, I don't know, probably not.
They set all these characters up, and they're all super, like, shallow, and it's not, I mean, you enter an episode, or we do an episode of this, every character starts out shallow, right, and then you get introduced to more, but it's just, like, people don't really grow all that much through this.
No.
There's, like...
No, and a lot of, like, what really bugged me about this movie is, like, Andy and I both kind of liked it, because, like, it does have its entertaining moments, but it's so inconsistent in tone and theme that it's really frustrating to sort of watch and feel good about in any sort of way as a film goer.
Yeah.
But then, so that's Redhead. We'll call him Redhead because I don't remember any of these people's fucking names. Then there's stereotypical rapper boy. He's walking out of his crib. Exhibit has pimped his yellow Mercedes SUV.
Yeah.
And
he's dancing. He's like dancing.
He's dancing to the soundtrack, which is not playing on screen. There's a name for that when, like, the soundtrack is being sourced from a place in the film.
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about. But yeah, it's just playing. He's dancing to it. But he's also. It's really it's now that you mention it, like, oh, that's even weirder.
It's really disconcerting. I was like, this is
like a strange thing, but they have the music like fade out and then just go away, and I was like. So yeah, that's so strange.
That was one of my favorite gimmicks on Lost, which is, like, in the first half of season 1, Hurley has a Walkman that is, like, on its last legs, and every few episodes they'll close with, like, him listening to, like, Damien Rice or some sad bastard shit, and then in the middle, like, they undercut it so well because it's for sure a Damien Rice song. When they do this, the batteries die and he just, like, throws the CD player into the ocean. And it's so funny. But yeah, that doesn't happen here. He hugs his dad. His dad says there's lots of cute girls at camp. And I think the butler is driving him.
Yeah. There obviously is, like, some tension going on because his dad's like, remember, I love you. And it's just like, it was like, overly, like obviously foreshadowing there's some stuff going on.
Well, we learn later, spoiler alert, the dad is like,
he's, I don't know,
he's in this one 30-second scene, he's sort of dressed like a stereotypical gangster, and then you later learn he's going to jail because he has no money or he's, like, been laundering money, or there's some fraud involved.
Yeah.
But yeah.
This kid introduces himself as the future heir to a Mercedes dealership.
Yes.
And then later he says, none of it's real, nothing, my dad's going to jail, nothing really matters. And it's like a character moment for him, but it was just like, okay. In the moment, like, I think it was supposed to be like, okay, I trust you, my new friends, enough to tell you this information, and it was just like, all right, so fell flat emotionally.
I do remember this character's name because it is the completely ridiculous Darius.
Oh yeah, was it Darius? Oh yeah,
it's Darius.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which they just messed up the name of
I'm pretty sure it's spelled like Darius, but with a Z at the end, in addition to an S. So, like, Darius, Darius.
I think so.
But he's not. That seems like a very Polish move, or Ukrainian.
Darius. Darius.
Well, let's not trust. Who is that? Well, we should trust Roger Ebert. God bless Roger Ebert.
Let's Nick Allen on Roger Ebert's. I'm looking at another review.
I have not met Nick Allen, but he dated one of my good friends for, like, a long time.
Wait, really?
Yeah. That's true. And also kind of a huge dick. So we definitely shouldn't trust him.
Okay. He did give this movie 1 star, though, so I'm sort of...
Well, he has a point. I'll give him that.
Yeah, I'm not fully against him. Sorry, Nick, if you're listening.
Oh my god, yeah, oopsie daisy.
If our expansive audience has reached you.
Yikes. But then there's okay, we go to the airport and
so weird.
So everyone is familiar with with the character of Eleven in Stranger Things, who's like this girl who's like very taciturn, probably is going to listen to Nirvana when Nirvana arrives in the Stranger Things universe. Like very emo before emo was really a thing.
They just dropped the new season and they're teenagers now, and I just saw the trailer. Yes. I'm very excited. It
looks pretty exciting. I'm mostly excited for Steve to be working at Baskin Robbins. 31 flavors. But they're clearly trying to position this young Asian or Asian American girl as like the 11 of this film because she doesn't talk for like the first half
a while,
and then when she does talk it's like very racist and bad. Like we'll get to that. Andy's giving me a look like that's not true, but it's true. We'll get to it.
What I remember of her is her like saying like she's been waiting for love. That's what I remember.
Oh god, yeah. There's this whole scene where she confesses her love to Redhead in Mandarin.
After again, it's been like one day.
People bond in times of trauma through traumatic experiences.
I feel like you should just focus on living.
You know what though? So we cut to the airport, and this person is in line at customs, standing next to what I can only guess was described by the casting director as a nerdy white guy who could be a pedophile.
Yeah.
Like
it's a fine line.
Like a nerdy white guy,
but everything else.
But make sure he's wearing the creepy pedophile glasses.
And tell him don't wash his hair for a week. Have it long hair, let it down, and don't wash it for a week.
So he's escorting this young girl, but a young girl. They're like 11 or 12. All the kids in this movie.
Yeah.
He's escorting her through customs, saying she is the daughter of his sister-in-law or something ridiculous. Yeah,
it's like so ridiculous. And so absurd.
She's, walking through customs, and then she pays him. So I guess she's just committing immigration fraud.
And so she has set up this people smuggling thing for herself. Like no one other adults are helping her.
Smuggled herself from China into the United States.
Was it China or was she like Canada? I can't
Cantonese?
Remember.
Well, she speaks Mandarin, which is spoken in China.
But I think
we're really showing our whiteness here.
Yeah.
Anyway,
no. I just don't remember if she was actually from China or from somewhere else. But
she was from a different country because she was at customs.
Right.
Yeah. Whether or not it was China, who knows?
It doesn't matter.
But she walks through customs and then gives this guy the cash he wants, and they totally part ways. And I guess this sort of just reinforces that TSA is bullshit. And
security theater.
And she commits this immigration fraud solely to attend summer camp, which is the worst reason to, number one, commit immigration fraud, and also, like, summer camp?
When she did that, I was like, what?
It's the weirdest thing, and it is never explained. Why?
You have this really big plan, and then you just went to a summer camp.
Like, I understand their impulse to have a really diverse cast, because that is one thing Stranger Things, which is quite good, Goodwatch Jr., does not do well, but it's also set in Indiana. It's not a diverse cast.
Right.
They have literally the one black character.
A token.
Yes, as he is known in South Park. This movie, they have the redheaded white boy. They have the Hispanic boy we'll get to in a bit. They have the Asian girl, and they have Darius, who is black.
But that's the thing is they harp on it. Like he's like, oh, he talks about being a ginger. It was like, oh, come on.
Yeah, it's like gingers are not a minority.
It just made it feel skeezy when it didn't need to. You know what I mean? Like they were like started going like, oh, well, you've got these features, so we need to address them. So everyone has some equal levels of crap they have to deal with. And it was just like, oh, I don't want to. Don't.
It's really gross.
We don't need to go into that.
Also, I will say that in the scene where Ginger is looking at like his 20-some TVs from his chair, he's wearing glasses. Never again in the film is he wearing glasses. So I have to assume he's wearing those as an affectation when he's in his like headquarters.
Oh my god, I need to.
Which
I can't. Are you sure?
I'm 100% positive that he never wears glasses again in the movie, but he is in that scene with all his TVs. And these are nice TVs. This is like a nicer TV than I have.
Oh. Are those no? His glasses.
Andy
are off.
is
I'm just
playing the
scrolling
movie
through.
on Netflix right now.
I'm silent, so I'm like, I don't believe you. This is because that's too crazy.
It's so annoying.
It
to
turns
me.
out that his glasses are off. We don't see him again.
They're they're just part of his costume as dorky white boy.
Shenanigans,
but only for one scene.
Shenanigans, chicanery. I don't accept it.
Also, this movie is brought to you by Adidas.
Oh my god, yes. Oh, it's very heavily Adidas. It's so amazing.
All day I dream about streaming Netflix because there's a scene where the kids go to a mall and they dress like they're in a Run DMC video from the 80s. Again, they're going for that nostalgia porn thing, but guys, this is clearly set in the present day. Like, they all have smartphones.
Yeah.
But anyway.
It was, I mean, they were doing a thing. They made it sort of silly. I'm okay with ridiculous product placement. What's the, not Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Wayne's World, where
Wayne's
they do
World.
it is almost that level.
Yeah.
Where in Wayne's World, though, they were doing it as a joke,
Yeah.
and here it's just hilarious because it's not a joke.
Yeah.
They clearly just needed that money from Adidas.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like I watched this alone, and as they did this, I looked around the room as though to like get the chagrin from the audience with me. I was just like, who, why?
It's weird too because they're in this mall, and it seems like the only clothes sold at this mall are Adidas.
Everywhere is Adidas.
Which I've been to like maybe an Adidas outlet store. I've never been to an Adidas mall. But
we're sort of scattershotting all over, just cherry picking different things. We haven't really run through the plot at all here.
But I have a note that says beaver bears, and to be quite honest, I don't know what that is. I also have PLL therapist ! Listeners, write in, or Evan from the past, if you want to clarify some of these notes that I'm sure are hilarious, let us know. Oh, there's some immediate. Okay,
so they all arrive at camp. Okay,
they all are
they're
checking
arriving
into
at
camp,
yeah.
and I posed to Andy. I was like, "Do you think all of the staff at this camp are like recovering sex criminals or sex offenders of some?" Because there's one woman walking around to all the campers holding a box, and all she says is, "Put it in my box." And of course, Darius is very excited by this prospect because she's an attractive woman, and he's like, "What? Right now?" And she's like, "Put it in my box." And it turns out she's asking him to remove his cell phone and place it in a storage container for the duration of his stay at summer camp.
This is really the start of his role as the comedic relief, where I don't know if it was just like the rhythm of it, like they were missing beats. But it just did not land.
It just made me really uncomfortable.
Yeah. For like the first, it started to pick up. So the rhythm started to hit for me, like where some of his stuff was a little funnier.
He's a funny kid for sure. It's just the writing and tone of this movie is so skewed in so many places.
It took a solid 45 minutes before one of his jokes landed for me. I was like, oh,
absolutely.
that was kind of funny.
Absolutely.
All the initial stuff, I was like, I don't know if I didn't really walk into this with a lot of expectations, so I thought it'd be okay. And I ended up going like at the end, I was like, okay, you got me. I you caught me up in the story. I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, solid half, he was doing jokes, and there was like a break, like a minute. There's a beat for someone to laugh, you to chuckle for yourself, and I didn't have it, and I was looking around like, why are we doing this?
And like the movie really only hits its stride when it's these four main characters, and it's really only them who are on screen, and it takes so long getting that set up, and it just feels so slow and bad until it really gets there.
It does, yeah. It does,
But they're at this camp. The camp is called Rim of the World. Two of the counselors are talking about Toy Story and how the toys are black people, and when white people are around, they have to act how they're expected to act, but when the white people are not around, they can be themselves. And I don't know, I feel like McG wanted to direct Toy Story 4 and was turned down.
Wait, so hold on. The Pixar line was, do toys have feelings? Do Then do toys have feelings? Then do bugs have feelings?
Do monsters have feelings?
Do monsters have feelings?
Do feelings have feelings?
Then is it with McGee's entry going to be? Do black people have feelings? Is that where he's?
It's not a great take. Anyway, you slice it, ladies and gentlemen. They are. One of the camp counselors is driving a whole van full of young children with a suspended license.
Another one is drinking from a flask.
Yeah, drinking from a flask.
It's just like thoroughly, and there are adults who are like, it's thoroughly ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's like they're trying to do like campy, silly shenanigans in a summer camp theme, but it feels like too scrunched in because like we got to get to the monsters bit. So like all this stuff is just happening, and it's just like
I honestly felt like when you first see the monster, like it's kind of cool looking. It looks like Venom, the recent Tom Hardy vehicle, but not the CGI is not as good. And so I actually wondered if they spent so much time getting to that in the first half because they truly ran out of money for their CG. Like they were like, well, let's pad the beginning because this movie is a crisp it's like 140 minutes. Yeah, so. It's not real long. It feels much longer, as most of our bad watches do.
Took me two efforts.
I was in this for multiple stages. I couldn't get through it at once. But they go in this van up to the lake that supposedly, I guess, the camp is the rim of. And then Zhen is the Asian girl, and she wanders off. And at one point, Redhead...
He goes to follow her.
He goes to follow her because at this point we have seen him introduce himself to her in Mandarin.
Right.
Turns out that's all the Mandarin he knows.
That was I like that line.
Yeah.
He's like, I only learned...
my Mandarin is very basic, he says later. But he follows her, and then I think Darius is like off in the woods taking a leak or something. Yeah, they're all separated from the rest of the campers, the three of them, and then there's fighter craft and things happening in the sky, and then a mysterious Latino mountain boy emerges from the woods, and he says, "I can get you back to the lake."
Yeah, it was. I forgot about that. I forgot that was how number 4 came along to this. He just he broke into
and it's
a
such
summer
a
camp.
dumb thing too, because he's one of the most fully realized characters in the whole movie, and for him to just be introducing this bullshit Deus Ex Machina. Later it turns out he's been living in the woods and he's surprised. He's remarkably clean for having done this. And he helps
he's a Boy Scout. He packed his loofah. He's been scrubbing in the lake. He's clean. What are you talking about?
Oh my god, it's so weird. But he helps them get back to where the rest of the campers were. The rest of the campers have left because...
They abandoned the children.
They abandoned the 4 children, but I think, they have set up the fact that the counselors are all terrible people.
And there's fighter jets fighting things.
There's fighter jets overhead, and there's like an alien battle, and the redhead kid is really smart, and he's like, that's a such and such fighter plane, and I've never seen that other kind of plane. And they eventually make it down the mountain from the lake back to the main camp, and like the whole place is burnt and toast, like scorched earth. And
because the fighters and the aliens shot up the park. The camp was a main target.
This is another clue into the budget involved with this venture, because you're given the impression that everyone is dead, and yet there are no bodies. It's like they were all shot.
They ran. They drove away.
The whole place was blown up.
And they wrote on the sign went to the city because they knew they left people. Is my favorite part. They knew they left people, so they just wrote it on the sign, a sign somewhere. It said we went to the city. See you later, guys.
The guy with the suspended license, he's flooring it out of camp.
Yeah.
But yeah, then I have in my notes EMP joke. I'm not sure what that means, but there was an electromagnetic pulse from one of the aliens, and then I say fakey fake explosions, shaky cam. And
they did a bit of that.
There was some bullshit found footage shaky cam with some really poorly choreographed explosions. But then the astronaut we met at the beginning of the film, her escape pod conveniently crash lands right at Rim of the World summer camp, and she hops out and tells the redhead and his friends that they need to get the key to JPL.
You're my only hope, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah. And then she dies because that's how this movie goes, I guess.
You don't need her anymore. She's
Yeah.
The MacGuffin's been given. She's out.
McGee's MacGuffin has been passed on. And they get the key, and he wears it like a necklace.
Also, they need to prove that the aliens are dangerous in ground combat, so that's how they have her die, right?
So then we see the Venom-like alien for the first time.
Because it rode the re-entry craft down, and it was A-okay.
Which is annoying because... You know, obviously you could say, well, it's an alien life form. Maybe the heat of re-entry didn't burn it up. No, that's bullshit, because later they activate the jet propulsion system on this little escape pod, and that's how they initially escape from Venom Alien.
Well, no, so it was damn. That's why they had a breather. No, Evan, I'm gonna help the movie. This all makes sense.
Okay, sure.
The alien hangs together. It's insane and idiotic, but it hangs together. So you don't see the aliens immediately. She has time to give them the key and give them the MacGuffin, tell them what's going on, because the alien's regenerating from the damage it's received. And then that's what we see. This one alien regenerates over and over and over the course of this movie. Now the thing that's really annoying, because it's like it doesn't eat a bunch of stuff. It doesn't even
it's
if it
like Wolverine
ate dirt or something. But
and it has a dog. It
does.
Part of it can siphon off into a dog. Mm-hmm. And the dog honestly was scarier than Venom.
Yeah.
Which I think they missed an opportunity there. What if aliens were dogs?
They love you and your face and your face in little pieces.
And then I have a note for lame Jurassic Park ripoff, which I think is there a glass of water scene? Is that what I'm thinking of?
No, they are running. They go through the kitchen, which is when the Velociraptor chases them.
It's the coolest scene in Jurassic Park, and they totally rip it off for Rim of the World.
Well, no, it's okay. I thought it was okay that they were going to do it, but then they didn't do it well.
It was a very poorly done homage.
They were doing a little homage, and I was like, "That's fine. You can do some campy stuff. That's fine." But they did it, and then I was like, "It's not.
Yeah, because it's like Redhead and Zhen are together at this point, and
all four of them are in there, and they're like all running out the window.
And Latino Mountain Boy are trying to run through the kitchen with them.
And it's it's the same thing as this.
In Jurassic Park, there's that famous shot where it's the two children, and you look through one of the cupboards and you see the raptor clicking its claw on the floor, and it's incredible. Yeah. And they try to do that here, and it just feels so shit.
It doesn't. It's a real shame, because I was like when they got in there, I was like, "Ooh, are they going to do this?" And then they did it. I was like, "Oh,
that was disappointing."
Not as desired.
Oh, McG. But then they do separate briefly at this point, where Redhead and Zhen they hide in a latrine. They go into a latrine.
Poop joke.
And it's like in Slumdog Millionaire, the beginning, where the two boys jump down the hole into a latrine. I read the book and I saw part of the movie. The book is good. But yeah, they're covered in poop. Neither of them comments on the smell. And then the camp counselor...
Ginger should just vomit it.
One of them should have vomited, because that would be so disgusting. But then they're down there hiding from Alien and his dog, and the drunk camp counselor from earlier walks in and is just pissing on them. Literally pissing all over them.
Because he passed out and missed everything.
He missed all the excitement.
Re-entry and a pretty harsh landing and a bunch of screaming children.
Yeah.
He got hammered at 8 in the morning.
It's very early in the day. I think he has a problem.
I think he was 18. I think
he's definitely he's awfully young to be that drunk that early.
If the aliens didn't get him, the booze was gonna in 20 years. But it's okay.
But then the aliens did get him.
He doesn't have to live out cirrhosis. It's all right.
And then I have a note called for Fire Dog. Did they set the alien dog on fire?
They kill the dog with fire. Everything's going to die by fire here.
I was really optimistic in the clarity of these notes. And then I also say, this is so racist all of a sudden. Zhen speaks English and gladiator quotes.
Yeah, she quoted gladiator,
so
and I was
her first lines in this movie are in well-spoken English, but they are not her own words. They are words literally said first by a white man, particularly Russell Crowe, in the film Gladiator, which... Come on, guys! You're gonna present the fact they're like they've
also she has like zero reaction to the literal end of the world occurring around her. Besides, a gladiator.
She's on the lam from what's their face, the Homeland Security. She's committed immigration fraud.
None of that matters. The world is ending.
She's like, I'm gonna fight the aliens for my homeland. Now it's my homeland now. But yeah, it's like, guys, you've presented her up to this point is that she cannot speak any English, but clearly understands some. And then the fact that her first lines in English are lines initially spoken by a white man. It's done. It's bad.
Is that, I mean, so I don't really...
Also, why Gladiator?
Well, I mean, yeah, that was ridiculous.
Why?
It's the like, whole... her character's like some movie.
It's
whatever.
The whole
I don't
speech
care.
where Russell Crowe's like, if you find yourself walking through fields of wheat, do not fear, for you are already dead.
Yes.
And you have reached Elysium. I'm Maximus Decimus. This is really hurting my throat. Okay.
Can we just watch Gladiator?
Gladiator, I mean, I think it's overrated, but it is a pretty good movie.
I love it.
I really liked it when it was a thing, when it first came out.
Is it no longer a thing?
I feel like a lot of people are like, is it that good?
Also, they use Mars from Holst's The Planets, the movement. Yeah, I love bum bum, and I love that. I love that so much. So like when you play the movie and those are the beginning chords you hear, I just get so I'm like, it's on. I love Gladiator.
Okay.
I forgot my Goodwatch Gladiator.
So then, in true Stranger Things fashion, the Latino mountain boy helps them unlock some of the camp's bicycles.
Yeah, they're like, we gotta get out of here.
And then cue Life is a Highway, and they're running down the dream. But first, they have to teach Redhead how to ride a bike.
He's never done it. I was like... he fell once, and it was spectacular. I liked that moment. That was funny. But
it was hysterical when he ate it. So that was maybe my first real laugh. When he eats it on the highway, it is truly hysterical.
I was like, for real? He's just gonna like master riding a bike.
Yeah, they present it as like, well, he knows now, and then all of a sudden it's just like, oh, eat shit. Like,
and he gets launched. It was really So they. The astronaut gave them directions to go to JPL, so I was like, "We need to go." And
he knows. He of course knows where JPL is because he's uber dork.
Nerd, yeah. So they start to bike, and then he's real excited, and I liked that they skipped. If I recall right, they skipped the first time where he's like, "I got it, guys," and like to fall then, and then late, like a little bit after that, that's when they
it's when he first tries to stop his bike that he just eats it, and it's so enjoyable. I could just watch that on a loop if I'm having a bad day.
And then they look up, and after they get him, he's totally fine. They look up, and they can see the city burning. Yeah,
Los Angeles is on fire.
And they have they keep doing 30 miles or something.
Yeah, however many miles away they are from JPL. Which this summer camp was not very far away from where well, I guess for Zhen Zhen it was very far away.
Some of us traveled further than others.
But then they make it into Los Angeles proper. There's a fake ending where they run into the military.
It's Battlefield LA.
It is, yeah. Aaron Eckhart is there. And
which I love that movie too. I haven't watched that again.
I haven't seen it. Aaron Eckhart has made some very questionable career choices, I feel like. But they meet up with these soldiers. They tell the soldiers they have the key that needs to go to JPL, and and the one guy's like, "You're our mission objective," and then like, "Stick with us," and blah blah blah, and then of course all the soldiers are killed immediately.
Well, yeah. You can't have that. You can't have them get in the way of things. And
I kind of feel like they wanted this to be a limited series show, and this was the end of episode 1. And then they're like, "No, you don't have this plot. Does not really have that kind of legs, bud. McGee, give us a bad movie instead of a bad 8-episode series."
The other part of this is I sort of felt like I was in a video game watching this. Like, I felt like there were very clear levels. Like, it felt like they were like,
Yes.
like, we're going to make a video
Yes.
game out of this movie, and
Yes.
it's going to be great. And we've got you're just going to follow the movie because the movie is a video game.
Yeah.
It really kind of annoyed me.
Well, whenever, like, there's a long tradition of video games being adapted into horrible films, and I guess now the inverse is true, where they want movies to be as successful as video games.
And I don't know if that's actually going to transpire, but it's how it felt. And
yes,
and a story has its own arcs, and like it all makes sense in video games.
I mean, to be fair, like the storytelling in video games is as good as it's ever been, and getting better all the time. I feel like, and also like
the way feels like a not great video game. This
would not be a good video game. I'm thinking more of like your Fallouts or BioShocks or whatever. Mm-hmm. But so this, yeah, they. I was going to say
especially
something,
at the end, but like you have to do these 3 things before the MacGuffin works, and I was like, this just feels very much like...
Yeah, but I think Chuck Klosterman has a really interesting essay where he talks about how, like, the kind of money that rock music made in the 60s and 70s, like, video games are making that, like, triple that amount now, like, if you account for inflation. Like, video games are the new rock and roll, and movies and music and everything else is just trying to keep up. Yeah. And so I understand the impulse to make things feel like a video game, but... Like, there's a reason video games are video games. Like,
they're interactive.
They're interactive. Like, that's it's really like, I don't know how. Like, clearly the people trying to do this really don't play video games. is my guess, but
yeah, if that's what they were going for, I don't know.
Yes.
Right, we can't speak to their intent, but it just felt like very set piecey sort of.
Yes,
and it's a story, right? You can tell a story multiple different ways.
You're right, though. Particularly the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then they leave LA because all the soldiers are dead. Mm-hmm. And they go to some suburb nearby, and they go to the police station, right?
Yes.
And then they go inside the police station.
I don't remember why they ended up there.
It's all very...
we do have to say, this whole time, the alien they met that crash landed from outer space has decided to follow them across the city. Because it made out with Darush. And,
and
that was a whole bunch of weird jokes that I wasn't really.
Yeah, this long thing protruded out of alien venom into Dariush, and he makes the joke that it's like it kissed me, and then Redhead points out, he's like, well, we don't know their anatomy. It could have been its genitalia, and there's a lot of poor taste jokes about that. Then
they're like, well, we think it has our scent.
Yeah.
And so it's hunting.
They're making it up as they go.
Well, I mean, sure, they want to reason, but it's just like it is nice to have like a baddie that's the same baddie sort of thing. But as like just a logical thing, like, well, none of this makes any sense.
I thought it would have been cool if like the key was made out of dark matter or something, and that was how it was following it. But that's not the case.
I would have been better with that.
Yeah, that would have been cool. But they didn't ask us how to write this film.
So this alien is fighting them across an entire 70 miles journey. It's tracking them as opposed to like doing any other objectives it has for its kind.
Yeah.
It's just there's some small versions of the people that don't have guns.
Honestly, I highly doubt that these aliens give a shit about what's happening at JPL.
Right.
But so they go to this police station, and there's a man in the jail cell there. I called him Jailbird Lou. I
like that.
Maybe his name was Lou. Yeah. Okay. Also, there's a really Dariush makes a joke about Lithuanian smoothies, and I looked it up, and it's really disgusting.
I did not look it up.
Because I think
Evan's got little emojis he wrote down in his notes for
I think this is the point. This is the point in the film where Latino Mountain Boy reveals that he was not at camp with them.
Right.
He was in juvenile detention and escaped and was living off the land in the mountains.
My side of the mountain style.
Or Hatchet. Like the gritty reboot of Hatchet.
Urban Hatchet.
Yeah, because he's really not that far from LA. But he tells them, he's like, oh, I was in juvie. And Dariush says, like, well, when you were drinking your cellmate's Lithuanian smoothies, I'm like, what the fuck? fuck? And it's really gross. I seriously, don't Google it. I regret ever knowing.
I will continue not doing that.
I'll tell you off air.
Nope. Not allowed.
Then I also have a note that says sexy times. Oh, that's when Zhen and the redhead.
So they go to a house after. So they have the jail scene. They decide to not release the guy in prison.
No, they do.
I thought they threw the keys on the ground.
They left the key on the ground and ran away.
Oh, okay.
But he clearly gets the key because he comes back.
I thought he got they just dropped it and ran. And well, okay. So, anyways, bad guy.
Yeah, they go to
gray area guy gets out and turns out to be a very bad guy.
Yes,
and he's holding the kids up, and he's like, he's going to ransom the MacGuffin.
Before this, they go to Latino Mountain Boy's house when he's not in juvie, and they have two beds in one room. So the three boys go into Zhen says, one of you can sleep with me, and then she just gets in bed because she's a boss. Yeah. And then the three boys go into the kitchen, and they're debating about which of them gets to sleep. It was truly hysterical.
So pacing.
Darius just like, I don't know, man. Like, why should it be the redhead?
Did she just say that right now? Like, and they were all like looking at each other like, I don't. What does that mean? Can we like?
It is.
I like that.
It is so real and funny, and they decide to let redhead bunk with Zhen because the two of them have a connection.
Yeah,
I think it's how Latino Mountain Boy phrases it.
He was like, they have something. You gotta let this go. Like it really
you don't cock block him, dude. They like it's
funny.
It is really funny. Like, and see, this is where the movie. I was like, oh, this is actually not so bad.
The kids do a good job of playing off each other.
Yes.
Usually, I hate child actors, and initially I did quite a bit. But like by this point, I think this is probably like an hour in or so. Yeah. Like. They're starting maybe 45, 50 minutes, and they're starting to grow on me at this point.
For sure,
like, and I think the actors probably hit a groove for themselves just to do this stuff. It was pretty. It was.
And I know we're crapping all over this movie, which features child actors, but I honestly think all four of these child actors are going to be just fine. It's the adult actors who should have your sympathy because they're really bad in this movie, y'all. But so they have sexy times, and then
but they just go to sleep.
They just go to sleep. Well, she holds his hand.
I forgot.
She grabs his hand and she says, "I'm glad it was you."
Oh, okay.
And he smiles. And then I have a note that says bootleg Purge, as in the movie franchise.
Oh, okay,
because Jailbird Lou is out of prison. Yeah. He's back on his shit.
And they all have guns.
Yeah, they have guns, and they're wearing dumb masks, and they're walking around looting, I guess.
Yeah, like, I mean, would that happen? Like, I'd be like,
I feel like there would be other priorities.
It's food and water and hide time, guys. Like, I don't.
Really, their motivations are really stupid. But also, it's the middle of the night, and the four kids like wake up, and they go out, and they're wandering through this huge field of hanging laundry.
That happened, and it made me so furious.
There's so much laundry hanging up outside of Latino Mountain Boy's house.
So that was absolutely infuriating. Like it was like they zoomed out a little bit, but most of the time they were doing all these little stupid like possible jump scares. You know, like someone could be there. Yeah. But so they kept the camera kept moving in between the cloth, and I was just like, stop it. Why are these kids walking? Stop it! I was yelling.
And I mean, you can tell McG went to film school, at least for a little while, because there's a very clear like nod to that moment in Halloween where you see Mike Myers out the window behind like the hanging laundry, and then the sheet flaps in the wind and he's gone. It's very similar to that.
Yeah, that's like worse. A famous, it's a forever trope in like horror tension drama movies, but it's just. It was just, and it went on for like a while.
They were in these sheets for so long.
It was,
and it's all bleached white sheets. Yeah. That's the only laundry that happens at this house.
It was communal, all right? It was like a 3 blocks radius of people put all their dirty drawers up that day.
But Jailbird Lou finds the kids, and they tell him that they're on a mission from God to get the key to JPL.
He knew that.
And he's like, oh, okay. He's like, well, someone's going to pay a lot of money for that. So he wants to take the key. And then who shows up but Alien Boy Venom? Mm-hmm. He kills the 3 Purge-alikes. And the four kids...
In about 2 seconds.
The four kids have time to run away, and then Latino Mountain Boy has an interesting idea.
I loved that.
This was actually very clever.
Very dangerous, because it could have messed him up.
It could have killed him very easily. But there's a swimming pool outside this communal laundry facility.
Yeah, well, the laundry, what you do is you hang your towels up around the pool entirely.
Oh
and so it keeps them dry, and you can sunbathe in
much
your own...
laundry!
So the other kids run around the pool, and then he gets the attention of big old Venom Baddie, and then runs across the pool.
Yeah, he starts walking across the tarp covering the pool.
Yeah.
Because he knows that it will support his weight, but it will not support the alien's weight.
Yeah.
And so he manages to make it all the way across. Alien Boy Venom falls in the pool, and they escape. Hooray! And I think this is when they go to the mall.
I think so.
Yeah, I have a note that says, where the hell are they? Because that was when they were wandering through the field of laundry. Then...
Pool trap.
Oh, this is the scene... Okay, so Zhen, I don't know if this was racist or just bad writing, but they have a walkie-talkie that they took off one of the soldiers. And because there's supposedly a scientist at JPL who was in contact with the military
sending out
via
messages.
Morse code.
Yes.
Even though he has a walkie-talkie.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But
Nope.
she, at one point, they're free and clear. It's the following morning, and she just looks down at the walkie-talkie and says, "Oh, Dr. So-and-so is trying to get in touch with us." And I was like, that is not how walkie-talkies work.
Walkie-talkie Morse code. That's not how walkie-talkie Morse code
If
works.
any of those kids knows Morse code, it's the dumb redhead who doesn't actually wear glasses. But then, they go to the mall.
Then they're in the mall.
There's a new clothes montage sponsored by Adidas.
Thank you, Adidas. It was beautiful. I loved it.
They also commit Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, they leave, and there's like the sickest car.
It's
Mustang
some sort of
thing?
vintage Mustang.
Yeah. So
and
they're, like,
the
really
redhead,
excited.
of course, initially gets in the front seat because his dad had that very same car before he tragically died, saving his son from a fire.
Just some. I don't
Trying to save his son
Sure.
from a fire. Yeah. But
I don't like losers.
he gets in the front seat and he's like, "Oh, I can't drive stick, but who can? Zhen, of course. Not the child who is the heir to a Mercedes dealership. Not Dariush. No. The fraudulent immigrant Zhen. But yeah,
The super punk Zhen Zhen. She's like in it, and then she's like tearing it up. I was like, I don't think you'd really fit.
And of course,
you're still a tiny person.
And of course, in this tricked out Mustang that's been hot rodded, they're of course listening to Straight Outta Compton, and I want to pose this question to you, Andy.
I like that.
What I liked it too, but what from here today, Evan Stoner, as you see before you, what do I need to do, and what needs to happen in order for me to have a moment where I get to drive a hot rod sports car while gangster rap is playing and everyone in the car is white?
Well, first you would need to learn how to drive stick. That's the first.
Okay, fair point.
Start there.
Fair
Start
point.
with
I was hoping
basics.
you would go in a little more whimsical direction, but fine. I need to learn how to drive stick. That's fair.
So do I.
Yeah, but then who shows up to follow their car but Venom Boy, Alien, and...
Jumps on top. There's a bunch of tension. They're
Yeah.
driving around erratically.
They're driving around, and then...
Which she is like a stunt driver. It's really phenomenal.
It's crazy. So she tells all of them to jump and roll out of the car.
Yeah, they tuck and roll.
Because Venom is on top of the car, and they all get out, and she leaves the car and drive, and it flies off this bridge into the L.A. River,
Aqueduct
canal,
things.
whatever. It's that scene in Greece where they do the race. It's that same spot.
Yep, that's not wrong.
And the alien is down there crashing before it's like dead temporarily before it can regenerate. But of course, dumbass redhead left the special McGee-McGuffin key in the fucking car. And who goes down to get it? But
Darush is like, "This is
Dariush.
my moment."
He's like, "This is my time to shine."
Yeah.
And
Didn't he go into like the history of like the Greeks and where Darius is from, whatever Greek.
The name Darius is like a Greek or Roman emperor or something like that.
It's the guy, the son of the emperor who fought against the Greeks and the Spartans. I can't remember the name. Xerxes and Darius.
We should all note though that his name is not Darius; it's Dariush.
Yeah, like I don't really quite get. Maybe there's like I don't know.
But yeah, so he goes down there, he gets the key, and he gets stabbed. I think
clawed
by
across
alien
the belly.
claw.
And it's like so that's the sort of thing. Then he like hams it up.
He proceeds to not die for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, though he is bleeding so heavily, he passes out multiple times. Yeah. Like it's like but he can still run. Like I was like, I don't know how deep this wound is.
I was waiting for the moment where like the scene where the alien stuck its thing in Dariush's mouth. And then cuts open his belly because that's where the alien babies are going to come out. I was waiting for that moment.
Oh, really?
But no.
I knew they weren't. No, I knew they weren't.
No, he lives long enough to go on carpool karaoke with what's his name? That annoying late night host, the British guy.
He was able to run around with his guts sort of cut open, but then later, like he was like unfazed, and then it was like terrible, and then he was sort of okay, and then it was terrible again. Like it was like this. Yeah. This movie went through multiple stages.
So Dariush and Zhen, I think both have spin-off films planned, and you learn that Dariush has some interesting healing abilities, and Zhen is just awesome.
It's from his makeout session with the monster.
Zhen remains awesome. Yeah, it's from the makeout session with the alien. Mm-hmm. But they have the key.
Something else was transferred besides love.
Yeah, and I have a note that says, "Do you feel that gravitational pull? Because this shit just got heavy." And I think that's because they arrive at JPL and Dr. Fielding was not communicating via Morse code. His blood was dripping onto the walkie-talkie, which was sending what sounded like dots and dashes.
It was insane. He's got the heavy blood.
He's high iron content in that blood. It's so dumb. And then there, of course, one of the generals who was in contact with ISS before it was eaten up. He appears on the flickering screen at JPL.
He's like, "Get out of there!
Get out of there, kids!" And the kid's like, "No."
Ginger Boy's like, "We will do this. I know we're gonna do it."
Yeah,
and we literally traveled 70 miles.
Yeah, and so Redhead Boy has to go up to the roof and redirect a satellite. Zhen has to go into the basement where all of these scientists are dead.
Yeah.
Because one of the dogs got in there?
Yeah.
One of the alien dogs got in there?
But that was my favorite. That was so ridiculous when there's all these dead bodies and there's something locked and like knocking on the door and she's like, "I'm gonna check that out."
Not Zhen's finest hour. But that was honestly one of the creepiest segments in the whole movie.
I knew something something was happening there and I was like, stop it.
That was very unsettling and I thought like mostly well done, despite the fact that she has no reason to open that door, and yet she does.
Yeah, she was like, "There are monsters. Here there are monsters. There's a bunch of dead people, and there's a locked door. What do we think?"
Yeah.
But
wasn't it because she like got down into the basement through the air vents, and that was like the doorway to the stairs? Was that it?
I thought it was like a laundry chute. She went down.
Something like that. Like it was something... She sneaks into the basement.
She landed, was like, "Ow," and then was
the door is like a much easier way for her to get back up to her pals.
Oh, is that what that was?
I think that was what they were trying to convey.
That makes more sense. Yeah. I didn't quite grasp that.
So Zhen is still cool, everybody. Right. No worries.
We've helped the movie out. So
everything is
cool.
set for her spinoff. Meanwhile, Redhead's on the roof, and they set up earlier that he has a terrible fear of heights. But who else is on the roof?
Their fears.
Everyone has a moment where they're confronting their fears because Latino Mountain Boy has number dyslexia. There's a special name for that, but that's clearly what he's dealing with. Dariush is just dealing with blood loss and mortality, I guess.
Well, so Latino Boy's having a lot of trouble with the numbers, and so Dariush writes it down in his blood.
I got you, bro.
And he wrote it down on a piece of paper in his blood, and I was just like, so. And then he passed right out again. I was like, this guy, is he hurt? Is he going to die? I don't...
Because Latino Mountain Boy says, "I have trouble with numbers unless I see them written down." And of course, there's like some absurdly long passcode
like 12 keys
that he needs to enter in order for this whole MacGuffin thing to pay off.
And they they showed that earlier that he had trouble with it, and the generals are yelling numbers at him, and it's a tense moment. And you just feel bad for the little guy.
And then, of course, Alien Boy Venom is up on the roof climbing after Redhead, and then Redhead.
And he just needed to kick the thing into
he miraculously kicks the satellite into perfect alignment.
I was like,
and then he zip lines away to safety.
Yeah, that was crazy too.
It was insane.
I was like, this is extreme, guys.
But then they all make it. They all survive. The laser goes off.
So we had the secret weapon to destroy.
It's called Excalibur, something really dumb.
Right, but what is that? It be a laser that shot or something? I don't even remember.
It was like a laser that there were 3 satellites in orbit, and they would triangulate around the mothership to form this mega laser that would blow the mothership away. And it was really stupid.
It's a good thing that the only key available was in the space station.
There was only the one fucking key, and it was in outer fucking space.
And the place where you stick the key is on Earth.
It doesn't make any goddamn sense.
That seems slightly off.
At least have a spare, you idiots. I've locked myself out of numerous vehicles and apartments. You always have a spare. But anyway, I digress. Do you know how I'm feeling?
I don't know.
Feeling financial.
Hello?
Hello?
Hey there. My name's Hank, but everyone calls me Dewey. How are you?
Oh, Dewey. Wonderful to meet you.
Hi there.
Yeah. How are
I'm good. I love your show.
That's good. How you've listened to all our podcasts?
Nope, but some of them. We sponsored an episode a while back. I'm the chief executive officer and founder of Fast Fired. 'Cause, face it, well, let's all face it, I've been fired from a lot of jobs. And, I just wanted it to go faster sometimes.
So this is a speedy...
So I started my own company, because I couldn't achieve my dreams of becoming a lawnmower salesman.
And so...
And so I started Fast Fire, because then if I have a bad job and people don't want me there, I can get out and get on with my life.
So at this Fast Fired company, you make it you increase employee mobility. Is that?
I increase turnover, which maybe isn't desirable, but sometimes it is.
Okay. And how do you go about doing that?
Well, like I explained, you clearly didn't listen to the podcast where your partner initially read our copy. It sounded like he made it up on the spot, though, so that's okay. But, if you have an employee that you need fired, you just let us know. We call their work extension and fire them for you. And then you just walk by while they're on the phone and give them a banker's box, and you take their keys.
And a thumbs down.
And a thumbs down. You swipe left, and that's it.
All right. Well, that sounds like a very...
But my name's Hank, also known as Dewey, and I'm from Fast Fire. Thank you, bye.
So that was fun. He wanted me to record the ad read, and I heard his voice, and I said, "Oh no, we have to have you on the show." But now it's time.
So Evan, you worked on a character on our vacation together, and I have to confess, I entirely forgot, and so you came on a goddamn left field there, and you did the knock, and I was like, wait, I was like, oh, did he already record something? And then you went into it, and I was not ready, and I was like, oh, she's happening, and
Dewey never dies. Fuck yeah.
Dewey, I feel like Dewey is my Marcel the Shell. He's going places.
Yeah, he's not work, he's getting fired.
He founded a successful startup, but he has not yet achieved his dream of being a lawnmower salesman.
I feel like he should be a successful end-up. He ends people.
Can you imagine if you got a call from that voice telling you you've been fired? That's like...
It would just be so confusing.
Yes.
Wait, who are you? Oh, it doesn't matter. You're fired.
He did mention to me that they're working on hiring some voice actors for that purpose because it has not gone well a few times. But, so now it's Goodwatch and Andy. I recommended a show to you that you watched. I don't know if you're going to talk about it for your good watch.
I wasn't planning on it. It was yours to recommend.
Well, farts.
Do you want me to go into it?
You can,
all right.
I have a good watch, and I love the show that I told you about.
I did. Andy did his homework. He brought a good watch. But okay, I'll talk about the show.
That's unusual, ladies and gentlemen.
Hurtful and also true. So I recently watched Fleabag. And in regular Bad Watch fashion, in this case accidentally, I started with season 2 and watched all of season 2.
Amazing.
From beginning to end before I realized, because Amazon, when it says like it says season 2, but what I read was like there's 2 seasons. So I started watching, and I was like, "Oh, there's like weird flashbacks to like stuff that I don't really get right now."
Interesting.
But you know what? I'm watching season 1, and I was like, you know what? I like my way better.
And what's wild is they do I heard an interview with the star, director, creator Phoebe Waller-Bridge, and she has said this is the end of Fleabag is season 2.
Okay.
And there's I think if you watch them in order, there's like a year gap between the 2 seasons, at least in the show. Or it was longer than that in real life. But so yeah, they do a really good job separating the 2 though.
But I got that there was a friend who died. I got that her mother.
Yeah.
Like all that information was also mentioned briefly.
So interesting that you did that. Though.
I have to say, so while listeners, I do love this show. I laughed. Season 2. I laughed. I cried. I may have gained 10 pounds. I don't know.
It's incredible.
It's really good. Now watching season 1. I'm like, it's not as good as season 2. I have to say.
I will say though, okay.
I've cheated though, and so I watched season 2. Now I'm watching season 1. I'm like, this is not. It doesn't have the. It's just more sad. Season 2, I think, has a better rhythm to it, where season 1 is just sad. It's really good.
Season 1 is it goes places, man. It's like some of those seasons of BoJack Horseman where you're like, I can't stop watching and I can't stop feeling sad.
Yeah.
But I do encourage you to watch them in order because Andy has not gotten to this, but there is an incredible reveal at the end of season 1, and I think the flashbacks that Andy mentioned that occur in season 2, those have more weight if you know what happens at the end of season 1. So I would encourage you to watch the show in order. Yeah. But I would also point out, I do think season 2, just as a television show, is better. But I would also say that season 2, she did season 2 after creating and writing and directing the first season of Killing Eve, which is another incredible television program.
Oh, she did Killing Eve?
Yeah, Phoebe Waller-Bridge wrote and created. She's incredibly talented. I'm super jealous. It's fine, go. But so I feel like her chops as a writer and creator are even sharper after having done season 1 of Fleabag and season 1 of Killing Eve.
Having gone through this, witnessed it, I have to say, it is for sure a much more refined. It feels a lot better. But not to say the first season isn't by any means good or isn't bad. I'm sorry, but I'd recommend Fleabag. It's a lot of fun.
Season 1 is more of an emotional journey, whereas I think I watched season 2 in one sitting. Yeah, it's It's that good. It's so really, good. Really amazing.
It's so good.
My good watch is also a streaming show, but it's not on Amazon Prime. It is called Dark, and it is a German television program, and I would encourage you to watch it in the original German with English subtitles, because the English dub is shite, or heiße Scheiß, as they would say in German.
Why, that was Scheiße.
I said hot shit.
Oh, hot oh, okay.
Heiße Scheiß is hot shit.
All right.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch ein bisschen? Ja.
No, nein.
But it's I don't want to go into too much detail because I could seriously spend hours talking about this show. It's already though in my top 5 all-time favorites.
Really?
Yes. It's I can't stress enough how incredible it is.
Evan texted me today to watch it. This is July 5th. We're recording this here. Evan texted me today, so I watched the first episode. I was doing work in the background here, and I ended up mostly watching the episode here. And I texted him, and because it starts with this they're like, "Oh, time is a circle," and I was like, "This is just they're just remaking Arrival in German now." And I was making jokes about it. I was like, "There's,"
and that made me really mad.
Yeah, I could tell we're texting. I was like, "There's a remarkable lack of inky circles," and it was like, "Just watch it." Like I could read the tone. But then about like 30 minutes later, I just texted him and, well, fuck.
Because it's incredible. It's so good. And all I'll say is, like, for the setup is that it's set in present-day Germany in a small town called Winden. And a boy has gone missing. And as you're watching this show, this episode, you realize that there was a similar instance of a boy going missing almost exactly 33 years previously. And then shit just gets so much more interesting and so much cooler.
So I only saw the first episode, and if I have to compare it to something, I'm getting like real Donnie Darko vibes.
Yeah, but Donnie Darko doesn't make any fucking sense. So
it's right now in the first episode. Not a lot is, Evan.
Well, I've seen. So there are 2 seasons currently sharing on Netflix. They have announced the 3rd and final season. And
do you watch both seasons so far?
Hell yeah, I've watched both seasons. Okay. It's amazing. I had to finish watching season 2 before coming over to record. That's where my priorities are at this stage. But yeah, Dark on Netflix. Watch in German, and if you don't like subtitles, you know what? They don't like you either. So fuck off. But yeah. On that note, please leave us a nice review on iTunes.
On that note, fuck off, listener. Doesn't agree with me.
You can find us online at BadWatchPod, or you can check out our sweet, sweet merch and find links to our stuff on iTunes,
The shirts
Stitcher,
are so comfy.
YouTube. They really are. I have a long sleeve and a short sleeve, and I love them both. And you can get them in lots of fun colors. And yeah, you can find you can find me on the internet places at Evan W. Stoner, and you can follow Andy on his way to work.
Don't do that.
He's Andy.
That guy's Evan.
And this has been Bad Watch, Rim of the World edition.
Oh.
Next time, we'll continue our Pretty Little Liars fan cast. Oh, and now I remember what PLL therapist means. The mom of Redhead is the therapist in Pretty Little Liars. Yes. We have come full circle.